horror adventure. This is the first Vita. The Vita didn't have a share feature. However, this is a game that was done on the Vita, and I actually got this through cross-buy, so I got the PS4 version through cross-buy, so it's pretty much identical to the PS Vita version, and pretty much any game that I can find that was on the PS Vita, any PS Vita game that I could play on PS4, that's what I'm going to be doing every Tuesday night. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to give it a minute to start. I'm going to share this with a couple of my friends, and I'm going to give it a minute let's see, share chats, Spock, Sasquatch. Alright. That'll do. Give my thing a like, and there we go. Alright, so now we're going to get started on this game. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Now we're going to actually do the full playthrough in one sit down. And this isn't a very long game. Your game will be saved automatically at certain points. However, we recommend you put aside an hour and a half and complete home in a single sitting. That's exactly what we're going to do. Turn up the sound, turn off the lights. All I remembered at that point was finding myself alone. Oh my head. Where was I? It was so dark. There was something by my feet. A flashlight. That house. Where was I? There was a body lying on the floor. Who was it? Might as well check the rest of this floor. Some papers on it. And a single drawer. I didn't want to snoop, but did I open the drawer? Yes. Receipts, pens, and a blurry photo. Looked like a store of some kind. Why did this look so familiar? Blood on the wall. Smelled fresh, sickening. I realized there was blood on my shoes and pants. Oh man, I had to get out of there. That's not what I meant to do. I noticed that I limped as I moved down the stairs. How did I hurt my leg? I wondered. All I could really recall was coming home, seeing Rachel. I was upset. She looked afraid. I shook my head, and I tried to clear it. I knew I should head downstairs, try to find my way out. The shelf was full of books on local history and hunting. Seemed like the owner of the house really knew the area. What's in here? A black and white photo. Looked like the man upstairs and his wife. I guess there was no reason for me to keep this. Did I take it? Nah. Figured this was no help to me, so I left it behind. An old dining table, covered in dirty dishes for 2 people. There were dozens of beer cans and other liquor bottles among the dishes. The smell was turning my stomach. A thin, gray mouse was stuck in a trap. It looked frantic but exhausted. Did I free it? Yes. A collection of rusty tools. These looked like they'd seen a lot of use and were caked in damp-smelling dirt. Why weren't they in a shed? I found a picture of a couple. It looked like it had been moved a lot. There seemed to be a switch behind it. Did I push the switch? Yes. It pressed smoothly into the wall. I heard a faraway click somewhere. I looked like hell. My clothes were dirty and torn, and there was mud caked all over my shoes. The front door was blocked by a pile of furniture. I knew I had to find another way out. Blocked by a pile of furniture. I knew I had to find another way out. Okay, I already saw that. Okay. The hell? The bathroom was incredibly clean. Every surface had been thoroughly wiped, and nothing seemed out of place. There was a photo development tray lying on the floor. Some leftover negatives were sticking out, but they were pretty blurry. I thought I saw what looked like treetops. Okay, so, the door was taped up and seemed to be stuck. By the smell, I guessed it led to the kitchen. The switch in the wall appeared to have unlocked the door. The box looked heavy, but there were marks on the floor. It had obviously been moved before. Maybe I had found a way out. I must have moved it, right? Yes. I heaved the box forward, and it finally gave. By the way, from freeing that mouse earlier on, that unlocked this door. You just saw the mouse at the bottom. There were sheets of paper all over the kitchen table. It looked like a series of names were written down, but they were too smudged to read. I could only make out a few of the notes. Keycard, locker, last one, I promise. It didn't make much sense at the time. There was a ladder going underground where the box was. A dank smell rose from the passage. Did I climb down the ladder? I don't see any other way out. My leg hurt like hell as I climbed down that ladder. The tunnel below was even darker, and the smell wasn't getting any better. But I had to get out of there and find my way home. Footprints in the dirt. It looked like more than one kind, and a lot of traffic. Places all over were marked on the old map of town, the industrial area near the river, various houses, and even the water tower near the old rail station. Newspaper clippings from the local paper. They were all about murders in town over the last few years. Wait, there were photos. Photos of our house. What the hell was that about? Maybe I should have looked around more. Tried to find some kind of information. Those boxes would have allowed me to climb up the ladder again, but I didn't want to go back up there. Not with that body. All that blood. A work table, covered in papers, dirt, and a handgun. I hated guns. I didn't take it. Did I? No. I didn't even want to touch the thing. Better I left it right where it was. I don't see anything else in here. I've already played through this game like twice, by the way, so I'm just actually narrating it. It was so dark down there, and the air smelled stale and putrid. I couldn't believe what I saw. What was this place? The desk looked old and was caked with grime. On it was a stack of old, faded paper, covered with what looked like names. They were scratched out, and illegible notes were written beside them in faded blue ink. I could only make out a few letters. Have, if, a, he. I can't make much sense of that. None of it made any sense to me. What's this? Some kind of homemade rack, slung together with poorly cut wood and rope. It was caked with old blood. Somebody didn't actually use that, did they? Rusted hooks, like the kind you'd find in a butcher, hung from the ceiling. They looked pitted and worn from heavy use. That man upstairs, did he do this? Crudely made shelves. They looked like they were holding cans of some kind of corrosive. The labels were worn and slick, but I could still see the warnings. It looked like a cage. It was small, but there was something coating the bottom, something wet. We're gonna go through that door first. Over there. There looked to be bones half dug into the ground, and the remains looked old. Who put them here? Wondered. What would I have found if I had dug deeper? Funny thing is, there's actually a room in this game which I have not yet, like, some kind of old boxes. They look like they were years old. Wait a minute. These boxes had old clothes in them. Clothes I remembered throwing out after Rachel and I had moved to town. What the hell were they doing there? There wasn't anyone there. Was I hearing things? I remember noticing the broken ladder. I had to be careful. There was a rope hanging there. I wasn't sure how sturdy it was. Did I take it? Yes. Maybe the rope would make that ladder, or broken ladder, easier to descend. Something behind the wall there. Let me see. If I can make it all the way back up to the house. Trying to figure out how to get to that other side. Well, I guess I lost my viewers. That's okay. The rope I found would have let me climb down the broken ladder safely. Did I climb down? Yes. You could hear a faint hum, and the swell from before started to get worse. A bunch of old newspapers, wheat pasted together. A message had been hastily smeared on it. Keep out. Danger due to cave-in. My hands tingled from the burn of sliding down that rope. It was lucky I found that. Who knows what would have happened if I had jumped down. Still, it was all I could do to have not to not have rushed out of that awful place, that rack, those terrible tools. What the hell was going on back there? The metal door groaned as I leaned into it, causing my heart to skip a beat at the sound. As I peered ahead into the dark of the next room, I worried that I should have taken that gun I saw. But me? With a gun? An exposed ventilation shaft. Maybe someone crawled through there, but it was so high up that must have been a sore landing. There was dirt on the ground. It looked wet, and there was grass smeared within it. No. Let's see what's this way. I could hear a faint trickling sound like water. What was that? A kitchen knife covered in drying blood. Thinking about it made me sick. I didn't even want to touch it. Did I take the knife? No. I was relieved to leave the filthy knife right where I found it. I want to see something. What's up here? Disgusting. It was a mess of filthy garbage bags. There were rips and tears in most of the bags. What looked like an old videotape was sticking out. Did I take the tape? Yes. I wasn't sure what I hoped to discover with the tape, but I took it anyway. This is an exit door. There was a rusty ladder sunk into the water, which smelled disgusting. I could find a way to drain the putrid water. So, our next goal is to obviously drain the water. Fun. Yeah, well, the hell was that? This game has subtle... The door was locked. There was a musty smell from inside. Honestly, this isn't my normal kind of game, but, you know, it's kind of... I think it's alright. For what it is, I guess. I guess you would call this a 2D side-scrolling walking simulator of sorts. I can see my name on the side. Nice. Wasn't sure, but I thought it was some kind of regulator. I had no idea how it worked. Right. How does this show up on YouTube? I'm just curious. This might just slow it down a bit. I'm just looking at this at my phone. Yeah. I know you said noise. Okay, yeah. I see that. Nice. Very nice. I'm actually direct streaming from my PS4. Let's see. This one has to be... One... Essentially the diagram's right there telling you what you need to do. Nice. I can hear the Facebook Messenger and maybe a washing machine. I don't hear a washing machine. I think that's actually in the game. I think that actually is in the game. Might be the game. This door right here, I've played through this game twice, and I still can't figure out how to get in this door. Anyway. The dev was doing laundry while recording sounds. Possibly. Especially given that this is an indie game, it's very possible. Looked like the water drained out of that grate in the wall. There was a small metal key left floating in the shallow pool of rancid water. Did I take it? Yes. I pocketed the small key, but it was so odd-shaped. I had no idea what it might open. Does it open this thing up here? Because... Nope. Sadly not. Ah, well. Thine mother's box, what? The safety poster had definitely seen better days. How old was that facility? Door was locked. I could see a faint light within. This door, too. Locked. What's in here? Oh, more blood, thanks. I meant nice. I found another dead body, a sewer worker. He was a mess, but it looked like he'd been stabbed. I could see a key ring that had fallen out of his pocket. Did I take it? I worked up the nerve to snatch the key ring away and put it in my own pocket. Hey, wait. One year old. This is what 2020 does to people. Yeah, maybe. I wonder. I used the key ring to unlock the door. Always take other people's shit in games. The shelf was full of security tapes. It was strictly organized, though covered in dust. Looked like the tape I found was the one that was missing from the shelf. Oh God, I could finally watch that tape. There was a dusty VCR on the security desk. I wondered what was on that VHS tape I found. Did I play the tape? Oh no. The video showed a man right there in the sewers being attacked. The tape looked fuzzy and stretched like somebody had tampered with it. It looked like there could have been two men. Couldn't stand to watch that video again. Damn. Oh, that sound just now? Yeah. I agree. There was another door, wasn't there? Or one I think there was another door up here. That had a smell. see. Okay, it was not up here. Sorry, that was the beans. I tried a bunch of the keys on the key ring I had found on that sewer worker, and one of them seemed to fit. It was littered with dozens of old faded papers. Whoever did this was obsessed with some local murders. According to some of the clippings, bodies had been found in ravines in the forest, and in one case, dumped in the back of an abandoned truck. Fit like a glove. I couldn't be sure, but I thought some of these same articles had also been pasted up back in those tunnels. I was actually trying to check this. Oh, come on. Alright. A collection of stale liquor bottles covered the floor. Nice. Seemed like whoever did this was also an alcoholic. A faded receipt was half trampled on the floor. It was from the local train station and was for 2 tickets. I didn't know what use it could be, but did I keep the receipt? That door animation. Yeah. I neatly folded the soiled receipt and slipped it into my front pocket. Well, believe it or not, the door animation is actually based on the original Resident Evil. Oh shit. That got me. Yeah, it got me too, dude. Man, that was... I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty intense. This must have been the other end of that ventilation shaft. Whoever used it could have gotten past that flooded room with this. Alright. The ascent was slow. My leg ached, but I thought you were gonna die to another meatball monster, the Russian woman. What's with you and Russian women? I tried the little key I had fished out of the murky puddle in the sewers. It fit, and I heaved open the door. The wind was picking up a bit. The night air had becoming strangely chilly. Ah, I understand why. It's because it says the internet connection quality is not sufficient. So... Up on the water tower. In a patch of smeared dirt and grass, there was a beat-up old wallet. I thought it was mine. Did I take it? Why the hell not? The wallet was missing ID or cards, but it had a bit of cash left in it. I slid it into my back pocket and wondered where my credit card and driver's license were. From the railing, I could see over the woods and down to the entrance to the sewers. Had I come through there before? If I did, someone definitely could have seen me. I think it's actually the protagonist's wallet, so... Just curious. What's this way? Oh. Okay. This is one of those games you can basically finish in one sitting. And now the dev is working on his outdoor bar while recording sounds. Now you're gonna make a now you're making a taking a stab at me, huh? This must have been the entrance to the forest that was mentioned on that map I had seen. Whoever was poking around in those tunnels underneath that man's house had scribbled notes on this place, but I couldn't make them out. Here the sign pointed out various campsites and walking paths within the woods. It mentioned a river and maybe a washroom, but the rest was too faded to see clearly. Yeah, I get that. With some people, if they're not making a joke, take the most sketchy path. It's always the best way. Oh crap, is this what I think it is? Okay. We're gonna actually go through the woods. Because I know what's back there. Okay. I'm gonna have a hard time keeping track of all the places I've been, so let's go through here first. If you don't get murdered by chains, did you if you don't get murdered by chainsaw, did you really live in a horror game? Not sure. What is this? Trampled into the dirt and grass was a plastic card of some kind. I brushed it off and was surprised to see it was my credit card. Write down which path you take. I think I have a pen. So, let's see. The first time I ended up getting... by the way, I am going to take my credit card back. I pocketed the credit card. Hopefully I could find my driver's license. 2. Dang ghosts doing credit card fraud. Credit fraud now. Alright. So I took the first path. I think. Alright. Alright. So... through the fence I could see a dilapidated outbuilding. I wondered if I could find my way around. Okay, apparently there's another place here to go. Piano music now. I wish. Sadly, no. So there is a place to go. Here. So let's see. Why did my controller just vibrate? There was a fire pit there. It was still a bit warm, and a few embers still burned at the bottom. I think the video is behind the audio. Yeah, it's probably an issue. 2 folding camping chairs were on the ground. One was knocked over. There were a couple of cans of beer spilled on the ground. The cheap dome tent slept 2 people. I shone my flashlight inside and could see some bedrolls, 2 backpacks, and a cooler. There are 3 trails here. Steal it and drink the beer. I'm not sure. Which one did I come in? There were some personal effects shoved back. Shoved back into the rock. Wait, there was a notebook there too. Did I read it? Yes, why the hell not? Inside the cheap dollar store notebook was page after worn page of names and lists. None of it made much sense. The newest page contained several names. Heather, Olivia, Ashley, Cheryl, Iris, Daphne, Holly, Rose, Rachel. Rachel. Her name was last on the list and had a mark beside it in blue ink. The names Daphne and Olivia had been crossed out in the same blue ink. Cheryl, Heather, and Rose had also been crossed out, but these marks looked older and more faded. I never did understand, you know, since this guy had blood on him, is he the serial killer, or is somebody else the serial killer? I think this is where I actually came from. Yes, this is where I actually came from. So take this path now. There's a door there. Let's take this path. I had finally found the exit once I left. I knew I never wanted to return there. Not sure if the protagonist was in an accident. He all of a sudden found himself like alone in a house, basically covered in blood. He has blood, not covered in blood, but he has blood on his pants and boots, and he is his leg is injured. Maybe he was the next victim. I mean, his wife's name was the final name on that list. Rachel is his wife. But there's also sort of a conspiracy going on at the same time. There was a door back there. Maybe I should go check out that door. Musty wooden plank propped up. Why the hell not? But I took the plank. Maybe she was the prime target. I honestly don't know. You know what? We're gonna find something else while we're in these woods. I know exactly where I'm going. I think I know exactly where I'm going. This was path number 3. This is path number 2. Can you use the sink? There was something in the sink. The worn picnic table stood within a circle of trees like an altar. It was covered in faint markings and carvings from who I assumed were previous campers and hikers. The plank I found was long enough to form a crude bridge, but I wasn't sure if it would hold. Did I use it? No. Even with the wooden plank, it just seemed too dangerous. I gotta go the other way first. Alright. In the morning, Dad. Love you. Okay. We'll walk across. Good night. Now that was creepy and unsettling. Not me telling my dad I love you, but that noise. Two bodies, two young women, were half dug into a hasty, shallow grave between the trees. The younger looking one was still face up, her body, her dead eyes gleaming against my flashlight. They deserved better than that. Did I clean up the gravesite? I tried to cover them up a bit more, and I closed the younger woman's eyes. I fashioned a crude marker. I wasn't sure why, but I felt I had to do something. Yeah. He just suggested I go back to the campsite. If that's what you want to call it. The inside of that tent was suffocating. Olivia, Daphne. By the looks of it, the fire hadn't been extinguished. It had just died out over time. Guess that's all there is to it. Call me the village dick, call me whatever you want. I guess I'm just, Conan O'Brien looking fool is the killer. Honestly, after a couple playthroughs, I almost believe it is him, but, I don't know. The sign was the same as the one I had seen. This must have been the exit to the other side of the woods. I'm gonna leave the woods. The forest started to thin out a bit, and through the trees I could make out parts of the town beyond and the first hints of light. The mysteries of that forest were behind me, but I could still feel them on my neck like a warm breath. Those girls I had found. Someone had taken them from their campsite and had murdered them. Was it the same person who had left that odd notebook? I was even more eager to get somewhere safe and to find a way to reach Rachel. As I stepped through the gate, I suddenly recognized the auto parts factory where I had worked as a machinist for all those years. The plant had closed almost 3 years ago now. Times were better then. I thought I could hear a faint rustling behind me. Maybe it was just the wind. Maybe it was just the wind. What? Before I do that. Oh shit. I found the body of a security guard, just doing his job, no doubt. His face was covered with blood from some kind of head wound. I wondered, was this flashlight his? Dug into the ground was a cracked old watch. First my wallet, and now this. Did I retrieve my watch? The watch was useless, but I put it on my wrist anyway. The meatball monster is gonna get you. Maybe. One of the lockers hung open. Its contents were tossed around like someone had been looking for something. The door was locked tight. It seemed to be connected to the power box beside it. There was a large power box with 5 lights on it. Cables burst out of the box, snaking off to other parts of the factory. The metal was starting to wear, and cobwebs had collected on the corners. The box wasn't receiving power. Okay. The door was locked shut, and there was an electronic box under the handle. A sign was pasted to the front that said, "Danger, closed for repairs." Alright, upstairs we go. Every part of this plant smelled old and rotted. I noticed the old bulletin board on the wall. The board contained yellow clippings of newspapers, cartoons, and notices. There were notes to and from the guys that worked here. One of them was to Norman, who was one of the older guys on the line. Old and rotted, just like my last relationship. Shit. Alright. The open locker was stuffed with dirty work clothes and old boots. There was a photo of a woman taped to the inside, but it was scratched out and the face was unrecognizable. Maybe Rachel? A power panel looked like it was shut off. Did I switch it? Of course I did. It was shut tight. There was a rusty looking card slot on the side. Maybe Olivia. Maybe Olivia. Okay, so we need a key card too, apparently. More. What? I wondered, was that guard using this as a break room of his own? Girls are all wives of employees. Maybe. Maybe we can find something that will, we can use to... This was Norman's locker. The door was dented like somebody had punched it. I don't remember him doing that when we worked there. Now the panel that I hoped could help me... Okay. That's good. Utility shelf. We want the hammer. Hammer wasn't as dusty as the rest of the tools on the shelf. I would almost want to think that Norman is the killer, but just wait. The locker was a complete mess. Hidden at the bottom, though, was a magnetic card. Did I take the card? I slipped the key card into my pocket. Hammer could be a murder weapon. Okay, so now we have something to unlock that one door from earlier, and a that door that was boarded up, and that door that was struck with the hammer. The old wooden boards came apart easily. After I had removed the planks, I left the hammer on the floor. This was my locker, there in the factory. It stank of booze. There was a picture of Rachel on the inside. It looked like it had been torn up. I thought I had taken that picture home when the factory closed. Yeah. There was a mess of empty booze bottles. Never leave the hammer alone. I wondered if that man in the house had something to do with this. He sure had a lot of alcohol at his place. You know something? This guy there was when the game first started, when you first start the game, you're in a house. Well, there's a dead guy in the house with you. No, he's not walking around living dead. He's in the house. And well, no, we find Norman later. Sorry to say. The key card I found seemed like it would pass through the reader. So I used the key card. Slid the card through the old reader and turned the handle. What the? There was some kind of ventilation hatch there. It looked like I could jump down below. My leg hurt enough as it was, but I couldn't see another option. Did I jump? Oh man, my leg hurt like hell. There was a crumpled up letter on the floor. It had been scratched out heavily, and it was hard to make out. Did I try to read the letter? Most of the letter was violently scratched out with what looked to be a ballpoint pen. All I could make out was, need to, just don't, drinking, need, Norman. Who was Norman writing to? I've actually never been here before. I stepped out of the factory, glad to be rid of its smell, of its memories. I couldn't stop thinking about that room with the bottles in it. Was that guard I found outside really drinking up there? What about Norman? And who had rooted through all those lockers? I couldn't tell where I was as I looked around, but I figured I needed to get to a road, get my bearings. Maybe Norman could help. His store wasn't that far from the turnoff to the factory, if I remembered correctly. Believe it or not, I've actually never been to that particular part of the game. I always just simply... Conan is shit-faced drunk. Maybe. There are like so many different endings that you can get in this game. Not like endings, but assumptions that you can make. The garbage bin was a disgusting mess of rotten food and slick black bags. Like, I saw a thin greenish corner poking out from one of the bags. It was my driver's license. It looked damaged. Did I take it? Yes. I cleaned the card off as best I could. It looked pretty beat up. I was amazed to have found my credit card, and now this. I tucked the card into my wallet next to my credit card. Sounded like it was going to start raining again. You know something? I never noticed that city view in the background. I think I had entered Norman's place. This was the back of the store that he ran. It was oddly quiet, except for the faint sound of a television. like a man. uh, the entrance to the front of the store was locked from the inside. It looked like I couldn't just pop it open. It needed a key. There was a bit of blood on the keyhole. Well, there's blood right there. Let's go through the right first. What the hell? One of Rachel's old autumn coats hung on a rack? That was Norman's bedroom, wasn't it? What was this doing there? There was a well-maintained gun cabinet here in Norman's room. I already went up the stairs. I didn't know much about guns, but it looked like he kept a few hunting rifles. I do think there was an affair going on. From everything that I've seen in the game, I think there's an affair. Now, as far as who the killer actually is, the TV still flickered some indecipherable channel. Oh no, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Norman, my co-worker and one of my few friends I had in this town, lay dead beside his armchair. His face and shirt were covered in blood. It looked like he'd been killed trying to get up. His eyes were still wide with shock. Norman, what was Rachel doing here? Why did you have her coat? Norman, maybe you deserve better. You probably did. Did I close his eyes? I closed his eyelids down, shuddering as I did so. I wasn't sure if I wanted to give him peace, or if I just couldn't stand to think any more about what was going on. Yeah, for sleeping. Yeah, I'm going to leave your eyes open for nailing my wife. The kitchen trash bin smelled fresh. I didn't dig through that mess, did I? I'm going to dig through the trash, why not? I found a hairpin amongst the rotting food and trash and pocketed it. I guess this was Norman's Norman's kitchen table. He kept it clean enough, but there were water rings from 2 cups still there in the wood. My 2 guesses on what's actually going on here. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. My 2 guesses on what was this? It looked like a pull chain hanging from the ceiling. I wondered where it led. Did I pull the chain? Yes. I gave the chain a single tug, and a simple folding ladder to the attic popped down. Did I find this in the past? There was a large cardboard box that hadn't been sealed. I opened it, of course. I opened up the old cardboard box and wasn't entirely surprised by what I saw. There were more of Rachel's things, more of my wife's clothes, photos, shoes, even that old radio I gave her. Why, Rachel? What were you doing here with Norman? Being pleased since Conan was incompetent. I used the hairpin to pick the lock. The hairpin snapped in half, so I threw it away. The general store was small, but it was clean. It had the usual things: postcards, snacks, magazines, and canned foods. I never went there much. Rachel usually stopped by after work if we needed anything. The register was mostly empty, and a fat stack of travel magazines sat beside it. The icebox seemed to be unplugged. It must have been off for a while. Most of its contents were half melted. There were various postcards showed an old black and white photo of the water tower. It looked to be in much better shape then. Sadly, I can only take what they ask me that I can take. That night continued to take horrible turn after horrible turn. It had been weeks since I'd last seen Norman, but to find him like that? Who could have done that to him? Seeing that rusty box of those old clothes was a shock. How long had they been there? And what was Rachel doing at Norman's place? I felt like I had only discovered more questions, no answers. But I was close to home. It was time to find out the truth. Okay, my guess is... Wrong gate. My guess is... this either Conan went on a killing spree, or he discovered a killing spree going on. Norman was just an additional casualty. And so the notebook is a list of girls sexed by Norm, but he killed them after the Bill Clinton. Never change, my friend. Never change. The neighborhood's local postbox. A letter was sticking out as if someone hadn't pushed it all the way in. I knew it wasn't right, but did I look at the letter? The envelope was addressed to Norman. There was no return address, but the handwriting looked familiar. I took a deep breath and tore open the package. Norman, I'm sending this to you in a letter because I'm afraid to tell you this in person. What we did, well, it was wrong. My husband isn't an easy man to be with, but he is my husband. And your friend. Of course, they had an affair. And your friend. I need some time to sort this out, away from you both. I'm going away for a while. I'm going to tell him. Norman, so don't you think you can hold that against me? Maybe we'll work it out. I'm not sure. I even want to. But he deserves at least that much. Goodbye. Yeah, but that doesn't explain the other. I'm going all the way just because. I entered our backyard. The rain gave me a terrible sense of foreboding, and it chilled me through my clothes. I was expectant, but also afraid. So you think Norm is basically a serial killer, and this guy essentially just went on a rage. Yeah, but that doesn't explain how long this was going on, because that list of girls' names was like pretty old. I held my breath as I approached our back door. I was terrified to step inside. What about the guy in the house? The house was above. I think it had something to do with the guy in the house too, because there was a guy at the beginning in the house, and inside and in his basement was a bunch of like stuff. That's Steve. He just likes to watch. Anyway, there was a bunch of stuff with like murder implements. You know, there was a whole bunch of stuff down there. The house was painfully quiet. The only sound was my own breathing, ragged and strained. I flicked the light switch by the door. The power was off. Of course it was. And Conan just went into jealous rage. I remembered having breakfast here. So who killed Steve? Having breakfast here on this very table. Was that yesterday or sometime before? There was a small pile of mail on the floor in front of the mail slot. How long had I been away? Why hadn't Rachel picked this up? Steve murdered Rachel, and Conan killed Steve to avenge his scandalous wife. Most of the contents were bills. There was a credit card bill there. Did I open it? I ripped the bill open and read it. To my surprise, it said something about canceling my credit card due to non-payment. What the hell? Why did Rachel kill Norm? I think Steve is Norm's brother. The front door was locked from inside. I couldn't go out, though. I needed to see if Rachel was here. So, we didn't go in here. Door to the basement, it was locked. Where had I put that damn key? No, Norm killed Rachel. The door was stuck shut. There was an old-fashioned keyhole underneath the handle. Who the fuck lives in a 3-story house with not including the basement or attic? I had found the last missing piece from my wallet. The old photo of Rachel and I stared back at me, reminding me of better times. It didn't make me feel terribly comfortable. Did I keep it anyway? Yes. I replaced the photo in my wallet, feeling like I had got part of my life back. Still, the image made me uneasy. Why had I thrown it away? Our television. I had purchased it before I knew I was going to lose my job. I felt pretty guilty about it afterward, but by then it was too late. Better times, like when she wasn't murdered. Yeah, you got that right. Did I try to go in? Yeah, this door was locked. So, including the basement, and there could also be an attic to this place. You got a 5-story house, pretty much. Our hallway mirror had been smashed, its pieces scattered around the floor. My laptop had been left on and only had a tiny bit of power left. On the screen was a website about the old water tower. There was a key in the top drawer of my desk. Did I take it? Of course I did. I pocketed the key. It's common up north. No outward girths, so they build up. Can also have something to do with the small lots. You know, when you get in the city, the lots are typically smaller, so in order to have more living space, you just build higher. Our sink, or maybe that's exactly what you're talking about. Our sink, which needed to be replaced, one of the taps always stuck. But I hadn't got around to fixing it yet. We were lucky enough to get a house with one of those wonderful old claw-footed bathtubs. My mom always wanted one of those. Sadly, I think I left the hammer behind. Sadly, I can't check the toilet. I can't check the toilet. That's disappointing. The books, there were half mine, half Rachel's. Hey, now that I looked more closely, it looked like the man in that house had some of the same books as I did. Again, never change. My wife's, Rachel's suitcase was sitting on the bed. It was closed, but I had a feeling what was in it. Did I open it? Inside Rachel's suitcase were a few days' worth of clothes, some personal effects, and a train ticket. As I stared at the ticket, I could feel myself flush with anger and resentment. The date and time matched the receipt I had found. Yeah, I imagine with the pandemic and all, people do want to have more living space. That's actually the entire purpose of me building a bar in the woods. I unlocked the basement door. There were old Christmas decorations in the box. The garbage bags were stuffed with old paint cans and supplies. There was a dirty old key here. Did I take the key? No, I'm not building a bar in the woods to murder my wife. I'm building a bar something. Screw you. I'm building a bar in the woods to, give myself. I took the small key and tried to remember what it unlocked. There were old clothes, tools, and other things we obviously hadn't thrown out yet. I had put up this divider wall last summer so we could create a separate room in the basement. I hadn't finished able to break through if I found something heavy enough. Alright. We're actually, if you can't tell, we're actually getting pretty close to the end, but we're not there yet. Wait, wrong door. The grimy key I had found in the basement unlocked the door. Home isn't actually home. It looked like the room had been tossed around. The furniture was a mess. Did somebody break in here? That's deep. There was an old crowbar crowbar on the floor. Did I need to take the crowbar? Yes. I lifted the heavy crowbar. I appreciated its weight. Wow, the basement key unlocked the basement door. Yeah, and I found another key that unlocked another door. Isn't that strange? Keys apparently unlock doors. Never knew that. What about doors that unlock keys? How would that work? I'm going to break down this wall while you explain that to me. Did I break through the wall with the crowbar? Yes. With a heave, I swung the crowbar at the wall. I smashed a hole large enough to step through. As I stepped through the broken wall, my breath caught in my throat. This was it. Was Rachel down there? Was she okay? Well, the 60s band The Doors used new keys. Nice. Doors unlock the keys. Nice. Okay, yeah. Didn't think of that. Was Rachel down there? Was she okay? She's behind a sealed up wall. Would she be okay if she was behind a sealed up wall? Don't look. A filthy-looking pile of rags had been dumped in the corner. The stench of them was awful and made my eyes water. I was terrified to even touch the pile to see what lay within, but I knew I had to. I had come this far. After all the searching, after all I had seen, when I looked within the rags, did I finally find my Rachel? Yes. It was worse than I could have possibly imagined. Within the folds of that rotten-smelling, heavy fabric was the pale, dead figure of my darling wife. What struck me most was that she wasn't bloody or torn apart. Rather, she was covered in sickly green bruises, and her windpipe had been crushed. The real horror there was that whoever had killed her had done so intimately with bare hands. So this is what had been gnawing in the back of my mind this whole time. This is what I was afraid of. I thought about all I had seen and wondered if any of it could help me figure out who had done this. And when I couldn't stay there any longer, I stepped away on shaky legs and made my way back upstairs. Reluctantly, exhausted from my journey, I could no longer resist the urge to close my eyes. Maybe. I mean, the last time this guy saw his wife, he wasn't very happy. But, Norm was gonna kill you, but Steve saved your ass. Maybe. So maybe there were two killers. Maybe I would use some of Rachel's travel books and find some place to go. It was my wallet, with its contents intact. Either I dropped that stuff, or somebody else did. Maybe I was sleepwalking again, or maybe somebody stole it from me. Norman's store, that forest, the water tower. Was I at those places before? Well, you were probably at Norm's store before. I didn't see how it could have happened any other way. I must have been the one to lose my wallet and its contents. But what does that mean? No idea who the florist is. Within the few broken pieces that remained of that mirror, I could see my face had grown pale and weak. I couldn't bear to look again. It was like I didn't actually expect a reflection. I felt empty and drained. It's really hard for me to say what exactly happened in this game. My old office safe sat on the floor. I used to keep tax records and other important documents in it. I used a digital passcode lock, but I didn't have the code. Maybe I had left it somewhere. I leafed through the notebook I had taken from the forest. In it were the names that had been written down. Those poor girls, were they victims of the same person and who had killed Rachel? I wondered what happened to the other names on that list. On the ones scratched out on that desk in those wet tunnels. I think Steve Martin saved the day. Huzzah for the 12 kids. Fun. The reflection in that grimy glass was only a shadow, a whisper. I still loved the old-time charm of that claw-footed bathtub, though it seemed like cold comfort then. The toilet still means nothing. I'm ashamed of you, my friend. I'm kidding. It was the key card I found in the factory, the one that allowed me to slip through that door. It seemed to me that it was probably Norman's, but if that was true, what was he doing back at that plant? Did I think Norman was going back to the factory? Yes. It must have been him. He must have been using the old locker room. The laptop was dead, but I found some notes and loose paper in the drawer where I had found the key. There was a yellow sticky note with an 8-digit code on it. 4R... Did I take it? The code looked like it might be for the safe. But what kind of phrase was that? Now we can go back and open the safe. We already went in here. Is this it? It's bathroom. Don't think this is it. Nope. The code I found should have let me access the safe. Did I try to open it? Yes. The code worked. I pulled open the small safe door and peered inside. There was a photo in there of Rachel and I when we had first moved to town. In it, it was weird. It was like a bunch of numbers and letters. In it, we were smiling outside the front of the house, which looked like a real mess. We looked happy, though. Odd. I couldn't remember who took that photo. Inside the safe was also an envelope. The front of it read, "Do not open until I tell you." I guess this was as good a time as any to see what was inside. Did I open the envelope and read what was inside? Something like that. I tore open the envelope and removed the yellow lined paper inside. On it was a letter written in a hand that looked familiar. The letter read, "I know this whole event has probably been pretty difficult. You can't imagine how hard it's been for me, too. Well, maybe you can. That isn't meant to be an excuse, but, well, I hope you can better understand why I've done what I've done. Moving to this town seemed like such a dream, a quiet place to get established, to live out our lives and to be together. But you know as well as I do that things quickly changed. Your drinking was one thing, but as you grew more distant, as you retreated into that world of yours, well, it was clear you didn't need me as much. In fact, maybe you never needed me at all. But it took all this to make you realize. In the end, though, you may never forgive me for this. You may never forgive yourself, but this is probably for the best." No, apparently Conan was. "You'll be healthier for this. I'm just sorry it had to happen this way. Rachel." Apparently Conan was a drunk, and apparently he had been drinking everywhere. Oh crap, Conan is the murderer. To Rachel? Did he do that Wait, what? Did he do that to Rachel? I think Conan is the murderer. Maybe Norman did kill Rachel. Maybe. I was sure of it. She wanted to end their affair, and that bastard, he killed her for it. A lot of it made sense. Norman was clearly seeing Rachel a lot, so he had plenty of time to plan it out. He knew where we lived, obviously. Not sure. Is that why Rachel looked so scared when I came home that day? What had happened to me? Did Norman knock me out or something? From now on, I'd have no one to get angry with me for stupid things like buying this TV. That's the one thing he says. So maybe Norman killed Rachel. Maybe Norman is the serial killer. But what about Steve in the house? Seemed like I had seen all there was. Maybe I thought I was ready to go back into the basement. Maybe there wouldn't be anything for me to find, but I had to take a last look. Of course, nothing else highlights now. I needed to put an end to this situation one way or another. Can I not go through there? There's nothing for me here anymore. No reason to stay in that house. Did I leave? Never to return? Yeah. Living in this town hadn't been easy. The plan had helped in some way to stay grounded. It kept me in line, gave me something to do, and helped me get away from my past. When the factory closed, everything changed. I guess that was when I had started sleepwalking. disappearing for hours at a time. I had MRIs and piles of doctors' reports, but nothing seemed to help, not even drinking. But I swear I had tried to give it up. I know it. The sleepwalking never really went away, though. But I know Rachel had tried. I know she had tried to be there for me, even when everything was falling apart. This night had unearthed terrible truths, but I knew it was a final act of a long-standing horror I'd been living. Waking up in that house tonight was the final cruelty. I wish I had remained unconscious in that room forever. Even the man I had found in that old place was a mystery. Why he was dead, or who had done it to him, was not something I could even begin to understand. Or why, for that matter, I was in that damn room in the first place. After making it out of those tunnels, I thought those sewers might feel safer. I was wrong. The security tape I had watched showed someone being attacked by what looked like two people. Two people? Two people. Two people. Steve and Norman? Or Norman and Conan? Or Steve and Conan? But who was it that was attacked? I had found the contents of my wallet scattered throughout town. Why the hell had I been out there? Had my sleepwalking gone to some new extreme? The thought that I couldn't account for my whereabouts, but knew I had been to that forest and even Norman's place, well, it was terrifying. Yuri and Yuri. I didn't know what that meant, but at least I had recovered my things, hopefully. I thought, oh God. No, that would make sense. Maybe. But why was this guy injured when he woke up? Hopefully, I thought that would cover my tracks, so I wouldn't be blamed for all this. Even more troubling were those poor girls I had found in those terrible woods. Half hidden in a shallow grave, their secret deaths seemed like the ultimate defiling. If I hadn't found them, would anyone have done so? Would they have even been missed? I vaguely recalled the desk I had seen in those tunnels, the names etched there. Someone had killed those girls. Was it that man? It was clear, at least, that Norman had been going back to the old plant. Maybe he was the one who had boarded up that locker room, who had been drinking up there in that secret hiding place. Yeah, but this Conan is the one that's actually drinking. So had he killed that guard then? He must have. Maybe he was found out, or the guard had caught him on patrol. Damn it, Norman, why? After the factory, I thought I might find some solace if I could just get to Norman's store, but all I found were more horrors and more questions. Now that I really consider it, that's when I should have seen it coming. Norman, you were dead, and it was damn hard to feel about that. And it was damn hard to feel bad about that. Put your fingerprints on the girls. It was clear you and Rachel were more than just friends, but obviously whatever had been going on had gone badly. So why did you kill her? Did she want out of whatever you two were getting into? Were you responsible for the other murders and of those other horrible things that had gone in that town? I would find no peace. That much was certain. But this way, I didn't have to look you in the eye, or sit through some kind of trial and wonder what was going through your head. When I had marched through the rain towards home, I desperately clung to the hope that this would end, and I guess in a way it did. And how could I have known how helpless it all was? Conan killed the guard. Norman killed Rachel. Steve killed the other girls and Norman. Maybe. It certainly looks like the whole town is full of murderers, that's for sure. I had started to feel as disoriented as when I sleepwalked, to think of it now. When I entered from the backyard, I knew something was wrong. I could feel it. No sounds, no movement. It was like the entire house had been holding its breath, waiting for me. But Rachel, oh Rachel, no one could have been prepared for that. Norman, I will never forgive you for what you've done. Really, Conan, really. You read that note. Steve was waiting at the house. Your death is no comfort. I only wish it could have been me who made you breathe your last. Oh, God. I only wish it could have been me who made you breathe your last. I wish I could have been the one that killed you. Shit! Conan just said, said that he wishes he had been the one that killed his wife. For whatever reasons you had, I could never have fathomed that this would be the end. My Rachel was dead. She was gone. And soon, too, I would be. As I swung open the door, and I stepped out into the air, I caught the scent of wet grass and fog. Rachel, my beautiful wife. Just the thought of her again, cold and inert, shook me from head to toe. What would I do now? Who could I turn to? It would only be a matter of time before the police got involved, before the neighbors knew. The front lawn was soft and giving beneath my feet, and I couldn't shake the urge that I shouldn't stand there, but rather that I should run. Now, I do want you to check out the special thanks at the very end. There's one special thanks that's really weird. Conan apparently wanted Rachel to be dead, and he wanted to be the one that did it. This next part is creepy. Home is dedicated to my wife, Nancy. Watch your back. I feel sorry for this man's wife. Anyway, man, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to try to do. This was essentially my PS Vita stream, okay? Technically, this wasn't played on a PS Vita, but this was something I got on cross-buy with, I got it for $5, and I got both the PS4 and the Vita version. You know, when you buy one, you get the other for free, so... Oh yeah, you're seeing. Are you seeing the? Are you? Oh wait, are you currently seeing the part where it says? So hold up. What do you want me to hold up for? I'm guessing that Conan killed everyone. Honestly, that has been my guess. Um, every time I played it, that's the only thing I could imagine. But did so after snapping from Norm killing Rachel. Maybe. Apparently. Ah. I'd be scared if I were the wife of the guy that made this game. I've tried. There's not like a lot of info on this game. There's a lot of people talking about it on. I mean, there are options like if you pick the handgun up and if you pick the knife up, you can actually you can actually have the protagonist kill himself in the end. Like you use the knife at the bathtub or you use the handgun in the kitchen, you can actually have the protagonist kill himself. Which if I don't see why you would want to, but I would hope that it's definitely an inside joke, that the thing about his wife is definitely an inside joke. I would hope so. Probably a 1 minute delay. Like between the audio and the video, or is there a 1 minute delay between the time I'm speaking and the time you hear it? Yes, there is a handgun. Anyway, before you do go, yes, between the audio and the video. Oh crap, that sucks. Anyway, I'm seeing 12:18. I'm currently seeing 12:18 on my clock, on my phone. But anyway,